Hi, this is Bill for Perfect Heat. Now, some of you might be saying, what is perfect heat? Perfect heat, in our estimation, is quite simply, it's simply when your radiators are performing at their optimal. In other words, from top to bottom of the radiator, it is so hot that you're not able to put your hand on the radiator for any prolonged period of time, for more than a couple of seconds, without severely trying burning yourself. So that's basically what perfect heat is. Perfect heat means your system is working top to bottom at its optimal. Now, we've come up with a system based on the inner workings of the human uh, system, your circulatory system, and the same thing we did for that has been done for the human circulatory system, we're doing for the pipes. So first thing that we want to let you know is that this is an advanced class. So if you guys are not up to speed on soldering, not up to speed on how your system works, then you could seek out our book, which is No Heat on the Second Floor. That book goes into the details and nitty gritty of your entire circulatory system, hot water, whether it's copper or black pipe, and it tells you how your system works. So now that we've got that out the way, let's move on to perfect heat. Yeah, what you're looking at right now, this is Bill from Perfect Heat again, and what you're looking at right now is a typical setup for copper or black pipe hot water circulatory system. Um, the first thing we're going to do with Perfect Heat is detail to you just basically the simple operation that we're going to do. We're going to assume that in employing Perfect Heat, you've already checked all of you've already bled the pipes and all the things that you should be doing in order to get your radiator running again. But for some reason, with a lot of us, whether it's air in the system that's blocking it, whether it's corrosion in the system, whether you have a corroded pump, your pump's not working optimally, whether it's your feeder that's not working, that's corroded, that you don't know. We're going to assume that all that is working, and all you need to do is get heat from your basement, which is where we're sitting right now in this particular house, your basement up onto your radiators on the second floor and third floor, because typically the first floor radiators are right underneath the pipe, so you don't really need a lot of effort and energy from your pump to get water up to the first floor. But it's the second floor and the third floor and beyond that presents typically a challenge. So again, what we're looking at is a typical system which is connected, one pipe going to an inflow, and then the same pipe is being connected which goes to an outflow from your radiator, and then the pipe continues from there. Basically what perfect heat is we're going to change the way the flow of water goes into and out of your pipe, pretty much just like the way blood flows into and out of your heart. We're going to have an in and an out, which is the same thing here, but we're going to do a little surgery on the way the water goes into and out of your pipes. It's pretty simple, but we're going to do surgery on your pipes to make sure that the water flows optimally into and out of your pipes. Draining the water is going to take a period of time. It may take 5 minutes. It could last as long as a half an hour, depending on how big your system is and how many pipes and radiators are in your system. So you let it run. You're going to drain the water, drain the system, and you shut off the water so your bucket doesn't overflow. You empty that, and then you come back again. You use another bucket. You're going to need two buckets for this. It'll work best with two buckets. Or if you've got a hose, then that's great too. That's even better. You don't have to move around that much, but you're going to need at least two buckets to get this done. Okay, so let's finish draining the water. Welcome back to Perfect Heat. I'm Bill. Below you, what you're looking at is the list of tools that you'll need to perform the surgery on your pipes. First, start out with your torch. You're going to need the Benzomatic TS4000 or better. Don't get the other stuff. It's just too cheap, and it'll break down on you within a month or two. So get the Benzomatic TS4000. You're going to need an emery board. Uh, uh, you're going to need something to make marks on your pipe, emery board. Here's another version of a scraper, something to make marks on your pipe. You're going to need a little bit of a sponge just in case you're not able to get all the water out your system. You're going to need solder paste to go along with your solder right here. You're going to need a piece of metal, sheet metal, that you're going to block your sealing from getting catching on fire. Whenever you turn on your solder, you try to solder pipes in the ceiling. You're going to need 2 caps. I'm working with 3/4, so you're going to need 3/4 caps. All the prices of these things are also on my website, so you could check it out as well. You're going to need a pipe cutter. Here's a Milwaukee pipe cutter. This on Amazon is roughly 79 bucks for the tool only. If you want to buy the entire tool with the battery, I think it's like 125, somewhere in that neighborhood. What I'll be using today will be a grinder, which I use for everything. So that's a grinder, and it cuts pipes, it cuts everything. One thing that's not shown here, you're going to need a jigsaw just in case you have boards that are in the way of your system. Just like any typical basement does, you're going to see the boards as you're going to need to cut in order to get to a pipe. So you're going to need to go through the boards. So none of these things are going to cut that kind of pipe. So you're going to need some kind of jigsaw, which I don't have pictured here. But by all means, if you're up to speed on your tutorials on your plumbing, then you'll have that handy. So that's just some of the items that you're going to need to have handy. You're also going to need a cloth of some kind because you're working with hot pipes. So you're going to need a cloth of some kind to cool it down, so to speak. So here's a list of the stuff you're going to need. They're all on the site, and you can pick them up at any local hardware store, Amazon, or Home Depot and Lowe's. Okay, that's it. Hi, this is Bill from Perfect Heat again, and we're looking at the underbelly of a radiator in this particular system that's not working optimally. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to perform perfect heat surgery on this pipe. Now what happens, as we explained before, is that the water typically takes the path, no, not typically, always takes the path of least resistance. Okay, so when the water comes from the boiler, it, instead of going up here to the radiator, the water's been taking the path of least resistance, which is here, diverting onto the next radiator. So instead of going up, it goes straight and then bypasses that entire radiator and goes to the next radiator. What we're going to be doing is performing surgery, pretty much just like angioplasty, whereas there's a blocked artery or vein that needs blood, and what the doctors do is they open up the vein going into that particular part of your anatomy. What we'll be doing, or in that case, the heart typically is going to the heart. But what we'll be doing is, instead of opening up, doing angioplasty, what we're just going to do is cut the vein. We're going to cut the pipe right here and place an end cap right here and eliminate this avenue, this option. We're going to eliminate the option to bypass the radiator and go straight through and force the water right up into the radiator, the cold radiator that's not working. And then we're going to cut this pipe, the same pipe coming this way, and we're going to put a cap on this side, not this side because this is after the pipe, but we're going to put a cap right here and forcing the water out of the radiator and onto the next radiator in the next room. Okay, so just to recap, we're going to eliminate this option. The water's taking the path of least resistance that way, so we're going to come from here and place a cap here, perform surgery, angioplasty if you will, and force the water up into that particular unit, and then place another cap here in which we're going to force the water out of the unit and onto the next one. Okay, so that in a nutshell is what we'll be doing, is what perfect heat is. We're eliminating the option for the water to take the path of least resistance and force the water into and out of your radiator, thus making it perfect, making the heat go, force the heat through your particular radiator and make it perfect. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So let's get to it. Hi, this is Bill from Perfect Heat, continuing the tutorial on performing angioplasty surgery, redirecting the water flow on your pipes in this particular basement, sending the water flow instead of the path of least resistance this way. We're going to redirect it that way by putting a cap this way. So first thing we're going to do is cut the pipe right here and place a cap. So we're going to mark our spot where we're going to cut. This way we have a little guide because we want to make a nice clean straight line. So we mark the spot where we're going to cut, and the same for the other side. Over here, gonna mark our spot to cut. Okay, nice clean line with a marker. Make it easy, an easy target for your cut. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do. Second thing we're going to do is we've already drained the water, and now we're going to cut the pipe. In order to cut the pipe, you're going to need a bucket because there's going to be residual water that's going to be in the radiator that we need to wait for it to drain in order to cut the pipe. So you got a bucket. You might need two, because when this bucket fills up, you're going to need to alternate because the water is going to be flowing and the water might be spilling. So you want to cut it. You want to cut the pipe underneath, in the underneath, so it drips right down on the floor. You don't want to cut it here because it'll start to spew this way. You want to cut it directly underneath so that the water, and it's going to come out really hard initially until all the water comes out. So you want to cut it so that the water spills down and let the water drain. So you're going to need two buckets. So we got one bucket. We got another bucket that's on standby. So as soon as this bucket fills, we'll replace it and then we'll be able to work. Okay, let's do it. Hi, this is Bill for Perfect Heat. Continuing the tutorial. We've just cut the pipe to drain out the water. So we're going to let the drainage occur before we start cutting the entire pipe. Otherwise, it's going to get messy and you're going to have water all over you. In order to get to the pipe, we had to remove not a stud, but the piece of wood that extended from here going all the way across to here. So we removed it, we cut it, and now we have full access to the pipe. So you can see we are unobstructed in our cut, and we cut the pipe right here. And what we're going to do is place a cap here so that the water is redirected back up into the radiator, so the water doesn't. We're not going to give the water a choice because it's going to follow the path of least resistance, which is going to go that way. So we're going to eliminate the path of least resistance, and we're going to force the water to go where we want it to go, which is through the radiator and provide you with heat. So once this pipe drains, we're going to be capping it. This is going to take a little bit, so we're going to come back to you when the drainage occurs. Okay. All right, this is Bill for Perfect Heat again. Just finished cutting the pipes. As you can see, pipe's been cut. Still water dripping out of it, so we've got to let the water come out in its entirety. Otherwise, we won't be able to put the soldering on because the solder won't fit because there's water. It has to be dry. The fitting has to be dry for the solder to adhere to the plumbing. But what we're going to do is clean this up with the emery board, and we're going to scuff up the surface of the pipe. Then we're going to put the cap on, put the paste on, put the cap on, and then apply the heat, solder, cap is done, and then we'll turn the water back on. That's it. So this is the cut pipe. Here's the other side. Going to do the same thing, clean this up, scratch the surface with the emery board, put the paste on, put the cap on, apply the heat, and we're done. So that's what's going to come next, and stay tuned.